Saturday afternoon to you. It's been a hot one today. Brett and I have been out in the yard picking muscadines and washing clothes. Well, not in the yard washing clothes, but in the house washing clothes. And we've been talking about how blessed we were. Brett has toyed with solar on and off for a few years now, and a couple of years ago I think it was about a year or two ago, he hooked up a solar panel out back in a greenhouse area. It really done good. So we've slowly done a little solar here and there. He's got a video about some of the solar stuff that we have on it. And I was telling him today, got me a load of laundry out of my dryer. And I said, I sure do love my solar dryer. I hang out my clothes a lot. I hate with a passion to run the dryer in the house, especially in the summer, because it just adds heat to the house. And it runs the electric bill up. And so I try to avoid drying in the house. I usually do my laundry, hang it out on the line, and when my line gets full, I'll throw a load or two in the solar dryer. Well, it really has to have a hot day to do it, because the heat that dries the clothes is the heat that's generated in the greenhouse. And so Brett did a video on how he made all that work. It's on our channel. So if you're interested in how that works, check that video out. It'll tell you. But I just loved it. I go out there and I get my clothes and I tell my husband, I said, we are so blessed. My clothes feel like they just come out of a regular dryer. They're really hot. They smell with the dryer sheet and the fabric softener smell. And I said, it's just wonderful. I just love it. And I said, the part I love most is the Lord paired it all. And He does. I mean, the source of the energy come from the sun. And the source of our energy comes from the sun. I think of that. So does SUN powers my solar panel. The SON powers me. And we get to talking about that some. And I really love that concept. When you think about the Son of God giving you energy and strength and power to do what you're supposed to do, that's phenomenal. I taught a lesson once, a Sunday school lesson, in the youth group I used to do at church, on how the solar panel absorbs the sun's power and energy and converts it into electricity that we use to run the washer and the dryer. And we even run our air conditioner off of it, and our lights. We have some lights that run on it. And we got quite a bit of stuff, over the time that we power with solar. And I wouldn't have a problem having the whole house run on solar. It just cost a lot of money to do that. Buying everything to get it. We don't have a whole lot. So we have the inexpensive version. So we don't have a lot of stuff that can run at one time. But it's an investment we're making. Because I don't know, it gives me a peace of mind, but at the same time it gives me this sense of awe on how all of this works. I know the electric companies use the same kind of concepts with the dams and the water and all that stuff, and some of them are wind powered. But when you put something together and it works, it really gives you a sense of accomplishment. And when Brett first told me he was going to do the solar, I thought he was kidding. We started out, running the greenhouse on it. And then one night the electric company turned the power off to do maintenance. And I come home and I was gone and it was black. the whole town was black because all the power in town was off. And when I turned on the road to my house was lit up. Not bright, there's only a lamp or two. But when there's no other power, and there wasn't even much of a moon to speak of, it was really bright. So I told him, I said, go for it. And when he told me, first time I dried a load of clothes in the solar dryer, I looked at him and said, God powered my laundry today. He provides the water that come into the washer machine that washed the clothes. He gives us the sun that powers the electricity that runs the washer, and gives us the sun that heated the greenhouse that created the heat for the dryer. So I just laughed and went, God washed my clothes today. I loved it. I really, truly loved it. I kind of jumped on the solar. Now, when the solar's not good and the sun doesn't shine a lot, like in the winter, it's kind of like, okay, you have to balance out what you do. It's when I'm thankful that we have an electric company that finds their source of power too. But I get tickled because I laugh because today, like my clothes drying and washing, other than the water, because I do have city water, I pay for the water, it was free. And it was free because it was run from power, generated from the sun. I mean, so many, even the dryer that we have was given to us. It was a funny story. My daughter asked the guy, she said, how much would it cost to, because she was trying to get him to pick up an old refrigerator. She asked him if he would just come and pick it up. He could have it. If he could fix it, he could welcome to it, you know. Because he buys, fixes, and sells stuff like that. And then I told him, I said, well, when you asked him if he wants the refrigerator, see if he has a dryer that don't dry. Of course, that was hilarious in itself when she asked him if he had a dryer that didn't dry, but run everything but the dryer. And he was like, well, yeah. She's just like, how much do you want for it? And he said, well, I'll tell you what, I'll bring it to you. You can have the dryer for the refrigerator. So she traded her refrigerator for the dryer that I have. And it runs, everything ran on it. It just didn't have whatever it was that heats it, which was fine because we didn't want that part of it anyways. So, I mean, it looks and runs just like a regular dryer, except the heat comes from the greenhouse instead of from a heating element, which is pretty cool. I like the way Brett does that. But all kinds of blessings. And you don't realize just how fortunate you. I guess I thought about a scripture today. You have not because you ask not, or you ask and amiss is the rest of the verse. But I think a lot of times you have not because you ask not. You know, I think sometimes I go, okay, God, I'm asking. Sometimes we got to ask each other. A friend of mine called today asking if I knew where she could get a desk for a prop for the children's ministry. She's our children's ministry leader. And she was going to be doing a classroom setting for the children's ministry for the next few weeks. And I was like, I used to have one out back because I homeschooled my daughter when she was younger. And I bought one at a yard sale one time for her to use because she thought it was the neatest thing. And it turned out I still had it out in the shed. I had it out in my workshop. Dug it out, cleaned it up. Said, hey, yeah, I got one. I'll bring it to church tomorrow. All because, you know, she called and asked, hey, do you know where I could get me a hands on a desk? And Brad and I, at the time she called, were picking Muscadines. And I didn't realize, I couldn't remember where Brett got the plant from. And he said, you know, this plant's putting out pretty good muscadines considering it was a broken down, wasn't going to do a whole lot plant. And I was like, do what? He said, for free. I'm like, he had gone to the store, the little store we have here where you could buy plants and stuff. And he went to buy some plants and he saw it and it was broken. They couldn't sell it and they told him if he wanted it, he was welcome to it. So he bought it. Well, he didn't buy it. They gave it to him. Well, when he bought the rest of his plants. And he brought it home, and it's taken a few years, but we got a big old bunch of it off last year. And I got a big old wash kettle. It's, I don't know, it's a 5-quart thing, I think. We've got it nearly full of muscadines, and it don't even look like we've picked the thing. But when I was sitting here today telling Brett, you know, how blessed we were, that drying the clothes was basically free. Here we are picking muscadines off of a plant that was given to us, and how truly, completely blessed we are because we said, okay, we'll give it a try. We'll give it a shot. I guess the point of this whole rambling is don't be afraid to try something. And just because something looks broken and looks like it won't work doesn't mean it's not good. Our muscadine plant is producing loads of muscadines off a plant that was broken and didn't look like it was going to do anything. Of course, we call it holy ground that it's buried in, apparently, because it's down there buried beside our gazebo. And we prayed for it, and we prayed over it, and we asked God to bless it. And He has. That's what Brett usually does with a lot of the stuff that he puts in the garden. He just asks God to bless it. And any extra that we don't use, we try to give away to somebody because we see it as God gave it to us to give to someone else. Kind of like that dryer we got. It got given to us, and it's been one of the biggest blessings I think I've had as far as household appliances goes. It's just been great. It doesn't cost anything to run it, and it dries my clothes just like the one I have that runs off electricity. And I'm just amazed of all the things that we can do when we ask someone, when we research to figure out how it works. See, all this solar stuff didn't make any sense to me, but it does to my husband. He's electronically minded that way. He made it work. And that amazes me. And I'm thankful. I'm thankful that the SUN can run my home. And I'm thankful the SON runs my life. I believe in you. God bless.